2009.
Yes.
We had recently held in K.S. Krishnaswamy that the recommendations of pay commissions are subject to acceptance or rejection. Speaking for the bench, one of us, Mr. Sema, stated, "It is well settled principle of law that recommendation of pay commission are subject to acceptance/rejection with modification of the appropriate government. So unless the government has accepted the recommendation to merge the cadres, the court cannot proceed on the basis of recommendation alone or to direct the government to accept the recommendation. In this context, we have to take note of the decisions of this court in State of West Bengal versus Dev Kumar Mukherjee that the recommendation on pay scales are not open to judicial review, and the one in State of UP versus Ministerial Karmachari Sangh to the effect that the evaluation of typists for the purposes of pay scales must be left to the expert body. The role of the pay commission and that of the court has been dealt with in the decision of this court in Saurabh Chowdhury and MP Rural Agricultural Extension Officers Association. In the latter decision, it was held that by this court that pay commissions are constituted for evaluating duties and functions of the employees and the nature thereof vis-a-vis the educational qualifications therefore. Although the pay commission is an expert body, the state in its wisdom and in furtherance of its valid policy may or may not accept its recommendations. So the pay commission recommendations are not binding as far as the state government is concerned. It may accept them, it may in certain situations accept them partially, and then in others reject the app. Now please have a look at four sets of decisions which we want to place with regard to fiscal policy issues. The Lordship goes to the index. Serial numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yes.
The Lordships have that. So I just placed para 21 of Bengal Chemical, page 49. Is where it begins. And if your Lordship is pleased to go to page 56. In Kamani Metals and Alloys versus Workmen, it has been noted that 100% neutralization is not advisable as it will lead to inflation, and therefore DNS allowance is often a little less than 100% neutralization. The following principles broadly emerge from the above decisions. Full neutralization is not normally given except to very lowest class of employees. The purpose of DNS allowance being to neutralize a portion of the increase in the cost of living. It should ordinarily be on a sliding scale and provide for an increase on the rise of cost of living and decrease on a fall in the cost of living. The basis of fixation of wages and DNS allowance is industry cum region. Employees getting the same wages should get the same DNS allowance irrespective of whether they are working as clerks or members of subordinate staff or factory workmen. The additional financial burden, which is a revision of the wage structure or DNS allowance, would impose upon an employer and his ability to bear such burden are very material and relevant factors to be taken into account. Having due regard to the above principles, we are satisfied in the instant case that the tribunal has made substantially a correct approach in considering the claim for revision of DNS allowance. Now please have a look at the second decision, which is State of Haryana, page 65 at 71.
Yes, please.
The court in the case of Secretary Finance Department versus WB Registration Service Association, dealing with the question of equation of posts and equation of salaries of government employees, made the following observation. We do not consider it necessary to traverse the case law on which reliance has been placed by counsel for the appellants, as it is well settled that equation of posts and determination of pay scales is the primary function of the executive and not the judiciary, and therefore ordinarily courts will not enter upon the task of job evaluation, which is generally left to expert bodies like the Pay Commission, etc. But that is not to say that the court has no jurisdiction on the aggrieved employees and no remedy if they are unjustly treated by arbitrary state action or inaction. Courts must, however, realize that job evaluation is both a difficult and time-consuming task, and even expert bodies having the assistance of staff and requisite expertise are found difficult to undertake, sometimes on account of want of relevant data and scales for evaluating performances of different groups of employees. This would call for a constant study of external comparisons and internal relativities on account of changing nature of job requirements. The factors which have to be kept in mind for job evaluation may include the work program, the nature of contribution, the extent of responsibility, the extent of nature of freedoms, the extent of power vested in him, the extent of his dependence on superiors, the need to coordinate with other departments. We have referred to the history of service and the effort of various bodies to reduce the total number of pay scales to a reasonable number. Such reduction is in the number of pay scales has to be achieved by resorting to broad banding of posts by placing different posts having comparable job charts in a common scale. Substantial reduction in the number of pay scales must inevitably lead to clubbing of posts and grades which were earlier different and unequal. While doing so, care must be taken to ensure that such rationalization of pay structures does not throw up anomalies. Ordinarily, a pay structure is evolved keeping in mind several factors: method of recruitment, level at which the recruitment is made, the hierarchy of service, minimum educational, technical qualifications, avenues of promotion, the nature of duties and responsibilities, the horizontal and vertical relativities, public hearings, satisfaction level, employer's capacity to pay. We have referred to these matters in some detail only to emphasize that several factors have to be kept in view while evolving the pay structure, and horizontal and vertical relativities have to be carefully balanced, keeping in mind the hierarchical arrangements, avenues of promotion. Such a carefully evolved pay structure ought not to be ordinarily disturbed, as it may upset the balance and cause avoidable ripples in other cadres as well. It is presumably for this reason that the Judicial Secretary, who has strongly recommended substantial hike in the salary of sub-registrars to the Second State Pay Commission, found it difficult to concede the demand made by the Registration Service before him in his capacity as the chairman of the State Pay Commission. There can therefore be no doubt that the equation of posts and equation of salaries is a complex matter which is best left to an expert body, unless there is cogent material on record to come to a firm conclusion that a grave error has crept in and fixing the pay scale for a given post and court's interference is absolutely necessary to undo the injustice. It has to be kept in mind that a claim for equal pay for equal work is not a fundamental right vested in the employee, though it is a constitutional goal to be achieved by the government. Fixation of pay and determination of parity in duties and responsibilities is a complex matter which is for the executive to discharge. While taking a decision in the matter, several relevant factors some of which have been noted by this court in decided cases are to be considered, keeping in view the prevailing financial position and capacity of the state government to bear the additional liability of a revised scale of pay. It's also to be kept in mind that the priority given to different types of posts under the prevailing policies of the state government is also a relevant factor for consideration of the state government. In the context of the complex nature of the issues involved, the far-reaching consequences of the decision in the matter, and its impact on the administration of the state government, courts have taken the view that ordinarily courts should not try and delve deep into administrative decisions pertaining to pay fixation and pay parity. This is not to say that the matter is not justiciable or that the courts cannot entertain any proceeding against the administrative decisions taken by government. The court should approach such matters with restraint and interfere only when they are satisfied that the decision of the government is patently irrational, unjust, and prejudicial to a section of employees, and the government, while taking the decision, has ignored factors which are material and relevant for a decision in the matter. Even in a case where the court holds that the orders passed by the government to be unsustainable, then ordinarily a direction should be given to the state government or the authority taking the decision to reconsider the matter and pass a proper order. The court should avoid giving a declaration granting a particular scale of pay and compelling the government to implement the same. As noted earlier, in the present case, the High Court has not even made an attempt to compare the nature and duties and responsibilities of two sections of employees, one in the State Secretariat and the other Central Secretariat. It has also ignored the basic principle that there are certain rules, regulations, and executive instructions issued by the employees which govern the administration of the cadre. Then please, if your lordships are pleased to go to Punjab State Cooperative Milk Producers Federation,
Yes.
which your lordship will find at page 74, at page 97.
Yes.
Go to the page.
Yes.
In KT Veerappa, the court upheld the principle that fixation of pay and parity in duties is the function of the executive, and financial capacity of the government is also a relevant factor to be considered, though in fact it was held that the employees of the university were entitled to a revision of pay at par with employees of the state. It was held as under. He next contended that the fixation of pay and parity in duties, the function of the executive and financial capacity of the government, and priority given to different types of posts under the prevailing policies of the government are also relevant factors. In support of the contentions, he has placed reliance on so and so. However, it is also equally well settled that the court should interfere with administrative decisions pertaining to pay fixation and pay parity when they find such decisions to be unreasonable, unjust, and prejudicial to a section of employees and taken in ignorance of material and relevant factors. In the present case, it is contended that the Federation is a statutory cooperative society. The state government communicated on 1st March 1990 and 9th July 1993 the pay scales as applicable to the Punjab government employees is not to be adopted by the public sector undertakings without taking into consideration the financial health of other statutory bodies and corporations. The Federation has thus taken a conscious and concerted decision to not follow the report of the Anomaly Committee of the state government to grant revised pay scale from 1st January 1986 in view of the precarious financial condition. Moreover, financial assistance had to be availed by the Federation from the state government as well as the National Dairy Development Board. Then please have a look at 10 minutes after that, Tata Cellular, etc.
Yes.
Please go directly to para 49, which is one of the concerns which we have also taken up. Namely,
of the Federation was in financial difficulties.
No, not difficulty in the sense it's a question of fiscal outlay for our part. So it has huge ramifications, Manoj. And we have therefore applied our mind and had regard to all these particular factors. So, Manoj, that's one set of decisions. Now, if your lordship could go to another topic, which I'll just Yes. Yes. Manoj, please see the decision at serial number 8. Mahatma Gandhi Mission versus Bharatiya Kamgar Sena.
That is about
Begins at page 148.
Central government and state government here did not be similar.
Yes. At 177, paragraph 62.
Yes.
The fact that the Government of India accepted the recommendations of the 6th Pay Commission, for that matter any pay commission, does not either oblige the states to follow the pattern of the revised pay structure adopted by the Government of India or create any right in favor of employees of the state or other bodies falling within the legislative authority of the state. The Government of India has no authority either under the Constitution or under any law to compel the states or instrumentalities to adopt the pay structure applicable to employees of the Government of India. I think this is a foundational principle. And in this regard, as Mr. Sibal had indicated,
The moment you bring in Mr. Sipar, we'll ask him to enforce our law.
no, we had actually done some.
Otherwise he is a start from our group.
Down to whatever your lordship.
No, but we had said that we are only expecting that order to be implemented. Partly, of course, that was subject to the outcome of the petition.
There is a,
Yeah.
You may do that, Mr. Sipar. Please ask your client.
there is a constitutional issue here.
No, what we are saying.
So that is also a constitutional issue.
No,
Yeah,
the point is,
The
13 states and
implementation of the interim order is a constitutional issue.
25%
of what, Mullah?
of
There is
area
no
is
calculation.
all.
There is no calculation.
So you have to do the calculation. give
How
it.
can I do it? I have to devise a policy, then I have to devise a framework. That's what the direction.
You may fix any amount and give it. You may say this is lump sum amount, but give it.
That means,
Of
that
course,
means.
they subject to the outcome. Of course, see, they are not running away.
We are also not running away.
You are, of course, they have to be fair.
No, I am not discriminating.
No,
That's not.
See, it's a question of.
I'm not.
So they've served you. They are your people.
Speak.
They've served you. They are your people. So give something.
There is no dispute on that.
Please do that. What we are saying. You may give any amount. You may give X amount, but give it. That's what we are saying. Please do that. Please persuade your clients to do that. And this is all subject to the outcome. Yes, Mr.
So, Manoj, I have also just, if you see my index of authorities,
Yes,
I'm not reading it because it's already quoted portion is read.
yes.
But you recall that this Kamani Metals and Alloys at serial number 12, AR 67, Supreme Court 1175. I read that quoted judgment from
Correct.
Bengal, correct? So which said that 100% neutralization of inflation may not be advisable in some circumstances. If somebody is doing it, I don't have it, but it's another government.
Yes.
As a point of information, the other judgment which we have placed on the same topic, your lordship may just know, is Tamil Nadu. Yes, Tamil Nadu Electricity Board, which is at serial number 10.
This is also to the similar effect.
Yes,
Similar effect.
rates may differ. So, would your lords, may I just take your lordships to it? It's at page 189. And you may go directly to page 197.
Yes.
Lordships of para 22.
The main source of finance.
The main source of finance for an electricity board is the state government. The board is run by the state government. Unless the funds are provided by the state government, the electricity board would not have sufficient funds of its own to pay the wages and the revised DNS allowance to its employees. Considering the financial difficulties which the state government was facing, the revision of DNS allowance from the above set rates at the above set rate cannot be said to be arbitrary or without any reason. While considering the grievance of wage structure or DNS allowance, the importance of considering the financial implications while providing benefits to employees has been noted by the Supreme Court in a number of judgments. The Supreme Court in Workman versus Gujarat Electricity Board, while dismissing the appeal preferred by Workman, has confirmed the view that the tribunal which rejected the demand of the employees of the board for DNS allowance, that it should be fixed with the scale prescribed by the Ahmedabad Mill Owners Association, on the ground that the board does not have the capacity to meet the additional expenditure that would have to be incurred if such demands are exceeded. The Supreme Court in Bengal Chemical has laid down that 100%, and Kamani has laid down that 100% neutralization is not advisable, as it will lead to inflation, and therefore DNS allowance is often a little less than 100% neutralization. Explaining the purpose of the DNS allowance, and that it should depend upon the ability of the employer to bear such burden, the Supreme Court held in Bengal Chemicals, full neutralization is not normally given except to the very lowest scale. The purpose of DNS allowance being to neutralize a portion of the increase. This is Mulak, which I had quoted and read.
Yes, correct.
And that additional financial burden and so on. So Mulak, this is a consistent principle which is to be followed. Now the only point which I wanted to make was that as far as we have been able to ascertain, apart from West Bengal, the states of Kerala, Chhattisgarh, Himachal Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Telangana, and Tripura, which is a total of 13 out of the 27 states as well, we have been able to ascertain, do not follow the rates of DA declared by the central government. So they have their own, we have all our, yeah. So it's a distinct scheme depending on our facts and circumstances. But I'm very grateful, but may I just commit, but we sort of divided our.
Certainly.
So if we could just have some supplementary.
7 minutes, not much.
Yes. In fact, Mr. Durana actually covered everything.
That's right. I'm not going to touch on any of the things that he has said.
Yes.
I'm just apropos what fell from your lordship.
Yes.
Now, if you look at, as I was indicated earlier, you look at the 7th schedule, there are 2 entries which are very important.
Yes.
One is bullets, entry 41, state public services. So, when a finance bill is presented in the legislature, and
Yes.
appropriation is done with respect to the expenditure, with respect to salaries and all components of salary. Right? Without that, no payment can be made.
Yes.
So whether it is DNS allowance along with salary, that has to be part of the appropriation bill. Outside of that, no payment can be made.
Correct.
Then if you look at entry 43, is public debt.
Yes.
Public debt of the state, mothers, is an important factor in deciding how much money is to be disbursed.
Please.
And we have the FRBM, the Fiscal Responsibility Act, in terms of which my deficit is fixed. If I go beyond that, then consequences follow. Right? Now, public debt is exclusively in the domain of the state.
Yes.
And state public services, including all salaries, dearness allowance, all aspects, exclusively in the domain of the state.
Yes.
So the problem that arises is when the consumer price index is hoisted onto the state models. If supposing there was an act, well, let's forget this, All India price, consumer price index. Supposing there was an act of parliament, it would not pass muster, saying you give this dearness allowance. It would not pass muster. So no tribunal, no authority can give a direction in law saying you to follow the All India consumer price index.
Yes.
Because it's outside the jurisdiction of the tribunal, outside the jurisdiction of the Union of India. That is why it's
Even this court.
no. This court is Article 142.
Now, even this court.
So, the point, your lordship asked me a very important question. Why can't you give it? Now, how will I give it? I'll have to borrow money. For borrowing money, I'll have to go to the Reserve Bank of India. The Reserve Bank of India will have to allow me, depending on my public debt. Then I'll have to go to the state legislature, pass an appropriation bill. Then the money can be disbursed. That's the procedure, mother. I can't give it just like that. So there are several aspects. Suppose, and this has happened in the past. During the COVID period, no DNS allowance was paid. In Bihar, floods take place, enormous expenditure takes place. How can the state legislature even afford to pay sometimes? This happens also in Himachal Pradesh, this happens in Uttarakhand, right? A tsunami may happen, whereas in the coastal areas, our Manrega salaries are not paid. I have to pay them from my own pocket. There are so many issues that arise with us, so we have to have the fiscal space to pay this, right? No, but how can that be done by a direction of this nature? It's not possible. So when your lordships put it to me, whether there is a whole process that has to be followed. I can't just do it like that. Now, in the absence of that process, there can't be a direction. And actually, the whole judgment suffers from that basic error that an All India Consumer Price Index can be foisted on the state government to add it to the salary, indexed it in the way that they want.
Yeah.
Whereas as a constitutional issue, it's not possible to do that.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone say anything?
There's a short list of dates that I prepared, and there's a short amount of submissions.
Yes, Mr.
Now, the first entry, your lordship may only. You had the fifth pay commission recommendations on 12/2/2009.
Correct.
And because they recommended sanctioning 2 installments of DA. Your lordship will get that from page 97 to 99.
Yes.
Now, this recommendation was not implemented by us. We did not accept this recommendation. So, while training ROPA, we didn't say that give DA twice a year, nor did we say that you adopt central government rates. So, that's very clear. Your lordship gets that in the second entry.
Yes.
And your lordship will get that at the pages that I have mentioned.
Okay.
That ROPA did not really pick up this particular aspect.
Yes.
Now, at the first instance, when the OA was filed, it was filed for implementing the recommendations of the pay commission. The OA was refused. And the OA was dismissed. Your lordship will get that judgment at page 197 to page 230 of the special leave.
Yes.
Then the matter went back to the tribunal on a remand.
Yes.
And it is on the remand that the impugned judgment was passed on 26/7/2019.
Yes.
So I'm just handing over these dates just for the sake of clarity.
Yes.
Then your lordship will just come to how the High Court dealt with this particular aspect.
And the High Court proceeded on the basis that we had accepted the recommendation of the pay commission, which is a fundamental fallacy in the judgment of the Act. If your lordship sees the reasoning from page 18.
You want us to read the High Court judgment?
Yes, volume 1.
Yes.
I'm only trying to point out, that perhaps, with the greatest respect, the High Court actually missed the point. Just see from page 19 onwards, paragraph 18.
Paragraph?
Paragraph 18, page 19.
Okay.
The aforesaid recommendation.
Just one.
Yes.
Yes.
In fact, if your lordship reads from page 17,
You want us to come to page 7?
page 17, first paragraph 17.
Yes.
The fifth pay commission under chapter 10 relating to allowances amongst others reported and recommended as under.
Yes.
And then your lordship comes to 10.6 at page 18. It is evident from the above that the state government sanction of installment does not follow any definite pattern. It is also clear that there are delays in payments of various installments of DA. There cannot be any differences of opinion regarding the need to avoid the delays. We are of the opinion that some extra effort, the state government should be in a position to clear the backlog of loan installment, which was sanctioned by the Government of India with effect from 1st July 2008, and then fall in line with the central government pattern of sanctioning 2 installments of DA each year. We recommend this course of action. If it is done, it will mitigate a long-standing grievance of almost all the employees within our terms. The aforesaid recommendation of the 5th Pay Commission has been accepted by the government by promulgating ROPA rules 2009. This is factually incorrect. Because A, the ROPA rules don't speak about adopting this particular basis. Secondly, there is nothing in the ROPA rules with regard to revision twice a year. As per rules, we see existing emoluments mean aggregate of one existing basic pay, DNS pay appropriate to the basic pay, and DNS allowance appropriate to the basic pay at index average 536, 182 is equal to 100. As quoted above, the coordinate division bench in the judgment has held that the claim of the employee serving under the government of West Bengal for DNS allowance is based on a legally enforceable right of all the employees serving under the government of West Bengal up to such extent of the recommendations of the Pay Commission, which has been accepted by the government of West Bengal by virtue of the provisions of Sub-Rule 1 of Rule 12 of ROPA rules, read with paragraph 10 of the clarificatory memorandum, being number such and such, dated 23rd February 2009, on the ROPA rules by the government of West Bengal Finance Department. Audit grant in paragraph 3 of the memorandum, bearing number 1692, dated February 23, 2009, in the matter of role of DNS allowance in revised pay structure under the ROPA rules 2009, issued by the government of West Bengal. This observation, as stated above, has attained finality. Therefore, we have no hesitation in our mind to hold that state government employees under the ROPA rules has acquired a legally enforceable right to get DNS allowance at the rate to be fixed on the basis of All India Consumer Price Index as embedded in Rule 3C of the ROPA Rules 2009. Now, there is nothing, my lords, in the ROPA Rules of 2009, as was pointed out by my learned friend Mr. Devan, that this dynamic price index is adopted by the state under the ROPA Rules. So, this is, my lords, an error on the face of the record. The High Court proceeds on a basis which is factually incorrect. And then, my lords, your lordship sees further, in view of the decision in the coordinate bench, the employees under the West Bengal State Electricity Transmission Company are entitled to DNS allowances at the rate of the central government. The learned tribunal in the impugned judgment has struck down the relevant office orders and memorandums under which DA was paid to state government employees working in Banga Bhavan in New Delhi and youth hostel at Chennai at the rate payable to the employees of the central government, holding that the orders or memorandum discriminate, offending the doctrine of equality under Article 14 of the Constitution, bearing in mind the principles enunciated by the Honorable Apex Court in its decision on the case of Nakara, reported in such and such. We hold that the classification of the state government employees working as West Bengal and the state government employees working at Delhi and Chennai, governed by the same statutory rules, is discriminatory, sounds intelligible differences, and offends the golden doctrine of equality under Article 14 of the Constitution. Since the claim of the state government employees of DNS allowance at the rate to be calculated on the basis of All India Consumer Price Index has fructified into a legally enforceable statutory right, cite AIR 1961-86, cited by the learned Advocate General, pertaining to payment of DNS allowance to workmen whose conditions and services are contractual in nature under private individuals or organizations, are not applicable to the facts of the case on hand. Similarly, in view of the factual and legal scenario, the above decisions in the state of Tamil Nadu are not applicable. And then in paragraph 23 and 24, which was placed by my learned friend Mr. Devan, which I don't need to read, my lords, it is held, their lordships have come to the conclusion that grant of DA on the basis of this particular rate would be a fundamental right, with which, my lords, even the other side has said that it does not really press the point, so I don't need to read. The fundamental fallacy in the judgment of the High Court is that it assumes that the ROPA rules actually incorporate a dynamic consumer price index, which is totally wrong. In fact, my lords, that is apparent from the definition of the word existing emolument, which freezes for a particular base at the year 2006, which is then adopted and used as a base. It doesn't say that the price index will be the same. I ask myself another question, and I'll just read two passages from the tribunals. The tribunal, on the one hand, comes to an express conclusion that you can't import central government rates to the state government for the purposes of DNS. And it says that there is no right in this regard to do that. Now I ask myself this question. that if this is not static and if it is dynamic, what would be the ultimate end result? The ultimate end result is the same, because if you adopt that particular rate, that is the rate which the central government adopts, and that will be the end result. So there are two points of contentious aspects in the order of the tribunal which I want to point out. If we were told that you fix the norms, etc. The norms, etc. have already been fixed by us by virtue of notification. But it doesn't stop there. It says it uses the expression time to time, and it says twice a year, which are both practices followed by the central government. And that is where the error has crept in the judgment of the tribe.
How has the second judge dealt? Lalit second judge.
It's similar.
Similar.
Yeah.
Has he given any other reasoning?
No.
No other reasoning is given?
I can place the findings.
No, we only. Is there any reasoning has been
on this aspect? There is no reason.
There is no reason. Okay.
In fact, Manoj, if your lordship sees.
No, we have understood your point.
At page 39 and 40 is Manoj the finding.
According to you.
Of the
to you.
Lordship, please.
In view of what Mr. Diwan has argued, Mr. Simple has argued, according to you, in view of 3C Roman 3, which is static in nature, there is error in the finding that para 33 of the tribunal as also the High Court.
Lordship,
so therefore, there no mandamus could have been issued, more so by the tribunal.
Lordship. And your lordship will just see those two particular findings of the tribunal. The use of the expression time to time, from time to time, which your lordship will get at page.
Yes.
Page 484, paragraph 33.
Page
484, paragraph 33. This is where the rub comes.
Page
484, that's in volume 2.
Yes. Para 33.
Para 33. We have already observed.
Just now. Yes.
We have already observed that there is no mandate under the statutory rules, viz. ROPA Rules 2009, or in the administrative directions issued by the central government in the form of Memorandum Number 1691-F, dated 23rd February 2009, and Memorandum Number 1692-F, dated February 23, 2009, that DA will be paid to the employees by the state government at a rate from the date as paid by the central government to its employees. In the absence of any mandate under the statutory rules or the administrative direction, we are unable to hold that the state government employees are entitled to get DA at a rate payable to its employees by the central government. However, from the discussion made by us here and above, we can hold without hesitation that state government employees are entitled to get DA on the basic pay at the rate to be calculated on the basis of AICPI number published from time to time. By taking the base year 1982, that is 1982 is equal to 100. Now, this is one of the first difficulty. How do you incorporate from time to time, which means Malaz a dynamic index, which is not part of the ROPA rules at all. And further, it is a bounden duty of the state government to evolve norms, principles for payment of DA to its employees by calculating.
Anyone else this time?
Then, Malaz, my written note.
You can keep it.
I've just it just encapsulates all the points.
No problem. We'll go through. Is there? Mr. Diwan is not there. Mr. MD is there. Mr. Gopal Subramanian, we tell you, we don't shy away from saying so we want to help. You are government employees, you serve the government, you will have to tell us how can we help. We'll continue there.
And what we have understood is that having held that court cannot issue a mandamus for grant of central DA. Now the court has granted it, according to them, court has granted the same by applying ACPI. That is the crux. That is what their submission is.
Correct.
Having said that, it can't do, they have done it, the High Court and the tribunal, by applying ACPI,
That's the point.
According to us, what the High Court and the Tribunal.
And according to you and the High Court, ACPI, the application of this, what is this, ACPI?
Yes.
AICP is inbuilt in 3C.
Built the rule.
Inbuilt in 3. That is your case.
Yes, and it is from time.
Court has not applied any alien formula. It is inbuilt in 3C3. That is what your case.
Yes.
Their case is the rule makes it static. We say.
We can't be more clearer than this.
Correct.
As of now, the task is not as simple.
We are testing us whether we have understood.
These are very fair questions to be answered.
Well, there's only one aspect I want to say. Any order of your lordships in this context is going to impact all states in India.
All states
Kindly have.
who have not chosen central D.
I'm sorry.
All states who have not chosen central D.
And therefore,
Not all.
clarification, they will be deeply interested in this issue. That's what I'm saying. Maybe your lordships might think in terms of actually hearing them, because this impacts them directly.
We certainly consider.
It's something very important.
We'll certainly consider it.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sibbal, it's a very valuable
That's
suggestion.
right.
We'll consider.
Yes, please do.
We'll ponder over it.
Yes, sir.
Definitely tomorrow
Because
we are.
the federal structure is at stake.
In fact, no, in the morning only we said, yesterday we said, we're going to have all India plan.
Exactly. It's not just a West Bengal matter.
Correct.
Your every case is pan India, Mr. Sibbal.
Well, we are confined to our own state rules anyway.
Except that I don't have any impact pan India.
No, can't say that.
I wish I had.
Yes, one more aspect, because if I may just point out,
Confined to the
In a-
state rules.
in our application, which we had made, we have given certain figures, because the fiscal aspect is something which your lordships have stressed. As to the extent of burden, it will-
36,000 crore.
yes, and the extent of burden that will fall on us. But your lordship may just bear in mind page 5 onwards of that application, because we've given figures.
Mr. Singhvi, in
Well,
fact,
many
has said
ancillary
this,
questions
like,
would come. There is this.
1 minute, sir. Please, we have not finished. We have not called upon you, sir.
Oh, that's
But nonetheless, we have told you the difficulty which is there. If you read the code by now. So therefore, we can't be more candid in this.
that's
We want to help you. Tell us how best we can help you.
that's true. We have also tried to put that assist your lordship in that exchange.
Obliged, sir.
Page 4 onwards of my application, I gave all those figures.
Tomorrow. Sure.
Huh?
It's no problem.
Welcome to the Sky Cricket Podcast, moments after India's narrowest ever Test match victory. The podcast was under maintenance yesterday afternoon when it looked as though England were breezing to victory. But now that India have got themselves over the line for a 2-all draw, the podcast is back up and running.
Let me give an introduction here. The two fossils of broadcasting, Michael Atherton and Nasser Hussain, have given me so much grief in this last 45 days. And it started with a couple of days prior to the series. Let's go back there. I hope the producer has enough footage to put that back in. Nasser asked me, what do you think is the series scoreline? Tell me, please. And I just thought about it. I said 2-all because I feel England probably have a vulnerable bowling attack. I'm sure those words would match. And then he gave me so much grief. He said that if ever there was something called sitting on the fence, here we go with Dinesh Karthik. And Mr. Michael Atherton, from the time I landed in Heathrow, is just asking me turbulent questions and putting me under immense pressure. Started with how I advised Virat Kohli on how to play. And it has been good to see India finish on the note. What a day it was, but now you can start your thing. I need to get it out of my chest.
Well, like, reflect on that. I mean, an amazing hour of cricket. Drama that, likes of which we've rarely seen, with Wokes coming out, shouldering a sling, preparing to bat left-handed. But just for a moment, reflect on that victory for India, what it will mean to the country, because millions would have been tuning in to watch the end of this game.
Yeah, we heard Ravi Shastri say that there'll be a lot of people in India who would have just said, thank you for the moment. I'm not coming to office today. I have better things to do, and found excuses to just stay at home. And I just received a text now, and I thought that was quite a nice text in the sense that he said, you've probably been part of the greatest test series ever that you'll be a part of as a broadcaster. And I don't know if that's going to stand true for the future, but it definitely from the past, I must say, this is the greatest test series that I've been part of. Every test going down 5 days and almost to the last session. Yesterday we were a bit, we all expected it to finish, and we just thought, why extend it when yesterday it was possible to get a result, which they should have, using common sense, if both teams are okay with it. But kind of felt it was worthwhile coming back, almost packed house, everybody trying to get in, and a lot of support for India. And it was just great to see a group of young boys stand up against a very strong English team.
By the way, if I'm a boss in India, I'm sacking people if they are coming into work today, not if they're bunking off and watch the cricket. Go home and watch the cricket.
Shall we reflect on the first hour this morning, first of all? Did England get anything wrong? Was it just wonderfully spirited bowling from India in conditions that remained helpful, didn't they? I mean, we all wondered whether that roller this morning would flatten things out, but it didn't seem to.
It didn't. The first two balls went before. Overton had obviously said, right, we're going to go out there and maybe gets close to the target before the new ball, which was 4 and a bit overs away. And in fact, after those two boundaries, it was noticeable, especially from Siraj, that ball was still hooping and seaming like it was late yesterday. And then the debate was they were never going to take the new ball because they had a ball that was doing something. And then once you lost one wicket, once that first wicket went, then you felt the crowd and the Indian fans were going ballistic. And you just felt England were a bit sort of frenetic. They wanted it to finish quickly.
Jamie Smith was the key wicket. I mean, he's obviously the mainline batter. He's had a brilliant start to his Test career. But also he's shown in his short career to date that he can really take the game to the bowlers. And he looked a bit dodgy last evening, didn't he? And couldn't really get going.
Yeah, and that's when the pressure, you turn up, you're 35, an oval, day 5, the ball's allowed to swing and seam, by the way, that's what happens in the history of Test match cricket. 35, 4 wickets, one of them obviously been Wokes. You're probably favourites there, two proper players at the crease who can bat, and Jamie Smith, an exceptional player with a Test match 100 to come next in Atkinson. You had England as favourites, but once you saw that first wicket go, then you knew this is now nothing to do with what's happened in Test cricket. This is pressure of the situation today. And the big heart of Siraj. He just came, I said at the end there, 3-1 would have been a bit of a travesty.
Yeah.
I don't think England deserved to win this series 3-1. I felt 2-all was a fair reflection of how both sides have played. India have lost 5 tosses, and I thought it was absolutely fitting that the man to get that final wicket was Mohammad Siraj.
Well, you've been translating for us.
It's interesting that 2 people from Essex feel the same way. One is Nasser Hussain, who feels 3-1 would have been a travesty, and Ryan Tenduskate. I was just standing with him, and he said, if it was 3-1, it would be like a kick in the teeth because we genuinely have competed with them and we have gone toe to toe in so many sessions that we would have been very disappointed. So that's the general feeling out there. And yeah, I was speaking and helping Siraj translate them. Just one more point, I don't like to butt in, but I'll just tell you this. Speaking to a couple of the boys, the only thing I asked them, what changed after tea? Why is it that it felt like nothing was happening between lunch and tea, and what changed? And they said, Harry Brook was just outstanding. They just didn't have answers to him. He batted brilliantly, and they said the way Harry Brook and Joe Root actually batted in that stage made the bowlers look a lot lesser than what the ball was doing. It was doing a bit. When they got Harry Brook's wicket, they thought, okay, maybe. But when they got the next wicket, which was Bethel, and Joe Root following soon after, that's when they said, here we go, there's a chance.
Your interview with Siraj and translation was so good you had to do it twice, didn't you?
It just tells my inexperience in broadcasting. I just went straight up to Siraj and started talking like my dad was there.
Wait for a cue from
director
there. Right. We'll get to Harry Brook in a minute. But just a final word on Siraj. I mean, it's bizarre, isn't it? All the talk was about Jasprit Bumrah before the series began. He'll only play 3 games and India have to win the games that he's playing. They ended up not winning those, winning the ones that he didn't play. But maybe that's not a complete coincidence that the rest of the attack, in particular Siraj, feels that they have to raise their game in the absence of Bumrah.
Feels like it. I mean, it's not Bumrah's fault because he's the best going around in the world. Every time he plays, he creates an impact. I think it's got to do with the captain as well. Maybe he trusts Bumrah so much that at times he doesn't believe the others are as potent as him in certain situations. He didn't have Bumrah. He said, here we go. It's Prasidh and Siraj for me from the start till this game finishes. So those kind of moments actually instill confidence in you. And I think at times whoever the captain has been, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma and now Shubman Gill, when Bumrah has played, has relied so much because he's such a genius and he makes the ball talk that the others sometimes pale in comparison on that given day when he's around.
Talking about Harry Brook, and obviously it seemed as though the game was in the bag yesterday afternoon when Brook and Root were playing so well. It was a brilliant innings from Harry Brook. He got out in the most bizarre fashion, running down, trying to slap one over extra cover. Bat ends up at square leg, ball ends up in the hands of cover. How people clearly praise the innings, but then in hindsight, now England have lost, they'll say, why didn't he just get England over the line? Do we have to accept that a player like that, and he's a little bit like Rishabh Pant for India, that a player like that who can change a game is not always going to get it right, and given the level of risk that he plays with, he is going to get it wrong from time to time? Is that you just accept that, or what would you do as captain?
You would say, is that a shot that you play and gets you a lot of runs?
Which he does.
Which he does. He charges the seamer as much as anyone. I see probably Rishabh Pant's another one, and he hits it over extra cover and mid-off for 4 and 6. At will, to be honest. So it's a high percentage shot for him. In fact, it's in his percentage is what I mean. So I have not got a problem. It looked a bit ludicrous because the bat went out of his hand. So it would be like me or you playing a forward defence, or Owen Morgan or Ben Duckett playing reverse sweeps. Would you ever be critical of Ben Duckett getting out reverse sweep, or Owen Morgan in white ball cricket? You wouldn't. So why would you be critical of Harry Brook? What we have to be careful, I guess, as a pundit,
is giving them licence and not being critical at all. Because how do you ever criticise them?
We used to give KP stick when KP would say, that's the way I play. Now, you do have to play the situation as well. And that's what Harry may have to learn and add to his game, and learn maybe from this that people below him, once put under pressure in a certain situation, may collapse in a heap. So next time, even though it's your shot, play the situation to get your team closer to the line. But I cannot be critical if someone's got 10 hundreds in 50 innings and plays the way he does. He's just a fabulous player.
Shubman Gill, he looked very cool and calm when I interviewed him, well, only about 10 or 15 minutes ago. His heart must have been pounding this morning, though.
Yeah, I don't think he would have had a good night's sleep. Just knowing that they're close, but nowhere close to the finish line. 4 wickets is a lot. And with Jamie Smith, with the impact that he's had in the series so far, and Jamie Overton, who can definitely hold a bat, he would have had his doubts. And the fact that a heavy roller was going to be on today, which flattened it out on day 4, he would have had the same feelings walking in today. And luckily for him, looks like it didn't have too much of an effect because the ball was still swinging. But let's talk about his batting. I feel walking this series, Nas and I spoke about the fact that your currency is runs, and I think he's lived up to what he wanted to, which is be the best batter across both teams, and it's fair to say that he's really worked on certain skills in his batting, mentally and technically, and he's come out here, seen through some tough spells. Yes, the pitches were great for batting, but not everybody else got 754. Here he is 200 runs ahead of the next highest, which tells you he's done everything possible as a young leader to say, I'm here to say tough moments, big series, look out, I'm going to do it for India every time now.
I think we all feel 2-2 was a fair reflection. I mean, if you looked at the series won, India probably won, sorry, sessions won, India probably won more sessions than England. I was just looking at the series averages. They've got 4 of the top 6 run getters, Shubman, KL Rahul, Ravindra Jadeja and Rishabh Pant. 4 of the top 6 wicket takers, Siraj, Bumrah, Akashdeep and Prasid Krishna.
Yeah, that's why I think 2-2 was a fair reflection. I guess a few Indian fans out there will actually say this was a missed opportunity. They didn't quite get those key moments, did they? They didn't. There were moments throughout the series that if they just played it better, but we've all played the game over a 5-match series. England would say the same. You know, late last night, could they have done a little bit better so they didn't have so much pressure today? They won 2 of their games without Bumrah, which we've touched on. What do we know as pundits? At the start, we're all going, you must win those Bumrah games. They are your trump cards. The 2 games he didn't play, they won. I think Gill, as a batter, has been prolific and wonderful. I think he can still learn a bit as a captain at certain times. You know, a one-off example, the last test at Manchester, Washington Sundar not bowling in for so long, changing the ball at Lords when he had a ball that was changing. I think he learnt from that today. This one was doing it, and he didn't get it changed for a new ball. So there's things he'll learn, but he said before the series, I'm going to get runs. That's my best thing for this team, and he's certainly done that.
Anything concern you about England? No hundreds for Crawley, the way Bethel was carted around the series, carrying drinks, which slightly came back to haunt England yesterday.
Crawley has played exactly how I thought Crawley will play, because that's how he's always played. He will be eye-catching when he gets runs, and everyone say, oh, this is why they stick with Crawley. And then there'll be a dismissal where you go, what are you doing there? And he'll end up, have you got his stats for the...
I think an average of 30, which is kind of...
His test average and his first-class average.
290 runs at 32. The only batter, top-order batter, not to make 100.
Yeah,
but the partnership with Duckett
is a good one.
Works.
So you're not going to separate that. No. They work, they play, they get on. There's an obvious left-hand, right-hand, tall, short. So they're going to be opening, unless there's an injury, in the first test match of the Ashes. I think a Bethel thing is no reflection on Jacob Bethel.
No.
It's a reflection on, you know, you have to have played cricket, and you've had to play cricket in the format, in red ball cricket. If you're going to come up against Siraj and all these guys in the high-pressure cauldron, I don't care what the modern cricketer says about, I don't need time in the middle, or we just go and play. You need to be batting. To be carried around, he didn't come back from the IPL, did he? Stayed. Fair enough, that's his decision. And then he missed the Zimbabwe test, and then he's not played much cricket. He probably had more balls in this game than he's had all year in red ball cricket, and that finds you out. However talented you are, that will find you out. So it's not a Jacob Bethel point, it's to make sure that future cricketers do get the right quantity and quality.
Given the best chance to succeed.
Basically, yeah.
2-2 then. Big smile on your face.
Very happy because I think...
You're the man who knows, you're the man in the know.
Yeah.
I think you guys are also very happy with how the result panned out.
It's been a great
from
series.
A cricketing point of view. I think it was great to broadcast on so many big moments, so much spice, hostility throughout the series, but a lot of respect at the end. And look, we have all the banter and fun outside of it, and it all shows with the type of cricket they were playing. If India were probably bulldozed or the other way around, I don't think the fun would really make sense. It was just good to see how both teams went about it. They were hot. They really tried hard, they pushed each other, but at the end of it, I think 2-2 is a good scoreline.
Since you've got the best cricket brain here, and since you are so good at predictions, as we've just seen...
Wait, another tough question.
Prediction.
Continue, yeah.
Can you give us an Ashes prediction? You've seen India play Australia, you've seen England play India. The next big series for us is the Ashes. A prediction, please, Dinesh. Mr. Predictor.
Quickly, last orders are coming.
3-2 Australia.
3-2
Australia. Well, there's plenty of podcasts to come before the Ashes
not having him on
series
again,
starts.
are we?
Well, no, we're not having him on again, but we've got plenty of time for us to make our predictions. Anyway, this has been a fantastic series. We've loved covering it. Goodbye for now.
What if I spill this on you?
2:30 live caption? What do you mean 2:30 live caption?
We're live, by the way.
One final time?
One final time. 2:30 live. Acha, ye Bengali. Ha. One final time, and this time for real. Yesterday we were so dramatic about everything. We were, counting down memories and everything that we learned on this tour, only for it to not be the last day. It was the most anti-climax live show that we've ever done. But then,
Why?
at the end of the day, because मैंने सुबह का weather report भी ऐसे nostalgia में किया. फिर 10 बजे वाला भी हमने final time. Then we did the live. This tour is ending. We don't want it to end, and guess what? It didn't end.
Yeah, I mean,
Extended
that's how it is, right? That's how that sums up this tour. That every time you expected something and you kind of thought that this is what it is, this is the result, this is what will happen, this is what can happen. Things have changed.
Yeah.
Things have changed, and that's what results in the drama. That's what the fun of Test cricket is. That's what the bizarreness of Test cricket is all about. I think this has been an absolutely incredible Test tour. By the way, look at the weather. Gargi, once again, quick update. This is dark. This is cloudy. This is gloomy.
Yeah.
This is
how it was predicted to be the entire day. See, I did.
And in the afternoon, there's 90% chance of rain from 2 o'clock.
Yes. So there was 80. When I did it yesterday evening, it was 80 to 90% chances of precipitation. 80 to 90, no, sorry, 70 to 80%. It started from 11. 11 was 50. Then 12 to 3 was the major part.
Today, in the morning also when I came,
12 to
it's
3
the same.
is the danger zone there. Are we headed for another 6 p.m. finish or what?
If there is, look, if somehow the game doesn't get done by 12, and if there is any kind of rain that comes in by 11, then there is a chance. Then there is a chance that there will be no game for 2-3 hours, because that period between 12 and 3 is quite problematic. There is a lot of rain predicted in that period. So yes, I mean, don't rule anything out, in the sense, still the chances are that between 11 and 12 the game will get done, and it will not rain. It will not rain between 11 and 12, because 40-50% chance of precipitation manage ho jata hai. But dekhiye, kal with the 50% chance of precipitation we had a shower.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to kind of predict, and at this point in time it's very dark, it's overcast, there is absolutely no sun. The sun was there till 8:30, 8:45 when I was leaving. What time did you? At 8:45 it was still sun. But 8:30, sorry, 8:30 it was still sun. 8:45,
exactly.
Quarter to 9, bit close to 9 when I got into the Uber, it was 8:55. There was no sun, and by the time you come here, which is about 10-15 minutes drive, 10 minutes drive with the traffic, it's pretty close actually. It starts getting darker, and now it's very dark. This is proper overcast conditions, and this should suit bowling. This should absolutely suit bowling. Nobody is saying there will be a miracle, but don't rule out a miracle. That's what this series is all about.
अगर एक कुछ सीख मिली है throughout this series, it's that never give up, never stop fighting, and that anything can happen. I think that
so here you go.
Okay, there you go.
40% at 11, 60% at 12. No, 1 is better now.
But look at the
3
rest.
o'clock.
3 o'clock. अगर इतने part में बारिश till
तो
about
खत्म हो
2,
जाता है. हाँ, तो खत्म हो जाता
then because 35 runs.
That's what it is. Either way, 10 to 12 overs.
अगोड़ा ते पाओ दूरदांतो शॉप ऑफर्स डोमेस्टिक एंड इंटरनेशनल होटल से with no stress booking.
10, 12 maybe back, and if India sort of gets it, maybe a cup. That's what it is, about 12 overs side. That should be enough. That should be enough for either team to close. India will need two magic balls to get into Josh Tongue, and England will need good 4-5 overs. That's it. If I was England, I would come and attack the first over. Hit a couple of boundaries, put India back, and that's it. Jamie Smith is capable of doing that.
Yeah.
He should come, because yesterday, had the game continued yesterday, I would have given India the chance, because England was rattled. The problem is, I mean, let's put it this way. Had it been India who was batting like this, would the ground staff have waited till 6:42? When the sun came out, would the ground staff had done that? Or would the ground staff push harder and cleared it out and and made sure that there was still 20 minutes of game? Or is this part of home advantage also? Because you will get the heavy roller. And how impactful will the heavy roller be this morning? I think that could well change the game. Because England will get the heavy roller, which will bind the pitch up for another 30, 40 minutes. That's the question. I mean, yes, Mone Morkel in that press conference came and said that, no, there was a lot of water and the ground staff would have taken time. And we also thought when we came out that there was a lot of water. But there is the question. There is the question, because by the time Gargi and I had started our post show, and if you see, when the announcement came at around 6 p.m. that the game had called off.
10 minutes later, it was completely sunny.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say, that within 5, 7, 10 minutes, the sun was, and remember we said the sun was into our eyes and we were squinting. So the sun was bright and sunny. Had it been India who was batting and not England, would it have been the other way? Would it have been that they would take a little bit more time? 6:42 would have been the cutoff. Would they have taken a bit more time and tried to clear the water and get the game on? Because this morning is the heavy roller. Is this part of home advantage? Is this part of all of that? Is this a conspiracy theory? It is a theory. It is a theory. I mean, I tweeted last night, there I saw Harsha tweeted last night. I saw a number of people tweeting as well. But again, these are all probabilities. Same thing.
That you should have played.
Could they have started?
Could they have started?
Because this is a question. I mean, some people will come and say this is a conspiracy theory. Why are you indulging in it? Fair point. I mean, nobody can pinpoint and say the ground staff could have started in 30, 40 minutes. But this is a fact. This is a fact that had India been batting, would it have been the other way around? This has been one such series. I mean, little things, very little things. What do you reckon? Had India been batting, would the ground staff have pushed a bit more? Let's get them out. I mean, that crowd was loud. The crowd was cheering. Jamie Smith was rattled. Jamie Overton was all over the place. He was edgy. Would England have been able to finish it? Because today they would have recalibrated.
I don't have the answer to that. I do not, because this is such a, again, like you said, a sort of a conspiracy theory, because we can only sit and speculate or think about what could have happened. But at the end of the day, England played better cricket. And the Indian bowlers failed to put England under any pressure whatsoever. That second session of the day was absolutely horrendous. India could not penetrate. They could not put on any pressure. They were haywire. And I think that session lost you the game. It wasn't the Mohammad Siraj dropped catch. It was that session where you completely lost the plot. You've completely lost all intent and intensity. Your body language was, it looked like you had already lost. And shoulders dropping. It wasn't the same Team India that was playing in the first session.
I agree. And I wrote that Mohammad Siraj, anybody who says that Mohammad Siraj catch dropped India the game and lost India the game, that doesn't happen. No. One dropped catch with 212 runs still to play, with a wicket that was doing something. You have had 2 wickets already in the morning session. You bowled with intensity and verve. That one drop catch cannot ruin you the game. And anyone who's saying that is wrong. Having said that, I tend to agree. I mean, and I did not understand this. I don't think it was only the second session. I will say it was the last 20 minutes of the first. It was the last 20 minutes of the first session when England raced away in 20 minutes between, say, 12:45 and 1 p.m. from 135 to 165. All of a sudden, that counter punch baffled India. And that's what baffles me, that why would a counter punch baffle you? I mean, you are the one who should have been the aggressor. You are the one who should have won the game. You are the 24 runs on the board. Did you not expect that Harry Brook will play a Rishabh Pant type innings? Expect that that's Harry Brook. Harry Brook all a punch. And he was taking his chances. Why did you not once as well? And that's what I did not understand in India's approach. The moment Brook started hitting, you saw the field spread. The moment Brook started hitting, you realized that this game is network choppy.
What can we do now? What can we... It's not connected to Wi-Fi, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Better. ठीक हो जाएगा.
Better हो गया.
So ठीक हो जाएगा. I mean, this is also like India's bowling, Neil. This network is much like India's bowling. They keep coming, going, keep going, coming, all that. Like Gargi, the truth is, just like I I was very baffled with India's approach in the last 15-20 minutes of the first session, and obviously in the second session. Like you realize, I said at lunch, it's India, because I thought they will come back with intensity, they'll come back with aggressive field positions and not spread the field. All of a sudden you had a first slip, you had a third slip, and you had nothing there. You had a deep square, you had a deep cover, you had a deep mid wicket, you had a fine leg, and they were easy singles. When Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar were bowling, they're just milking. They're just milking the ball, fielding on occasions like that. Akash
whatsoever. That what if I spill this on you?
2:30 live caption? What do you mean 2:30 live caption?
We're live, by the way.
One final time?
One final time. Acha, ye Bengali. हाँ. One final time, and this time for real. Yesterday we were so dramatic about everything. We were, counting down memories and everything that we learned on this tour, only for it to not be the last day. It was the most anti-climax live show that we've ever done. But then, at the end of the day, because मैंने सुबह का weather report भी ऐसे nostalgia में किया. फिर 10 बजे वाला भी हमने final time. Then we did the lie that this tour is ending. We don't want it to end, and guess what? It didn't end.
Yeah, I mean that's how it is, right? That's how that sums up this tour. That every time you expected something and you kind of thought that this is what it is, this is the result, this is what will happen, this is what can happen. Things have changed. Things have changed, and that's what results in the drama. That's what the fun of Test cricket is. That's what the is.
सुबह का weather report भी ऐसे nostalgia में किया. फिर 10 बजे वाला भी हमने final time. Then we did the lie that this tour is ending. We don't want it to end, and guess what? It didn't end.
Yeah, I mean that's how it is, right? That's how that sums up this tour. That every time you expected something and you kind of thought that this is what it is, this is the result, this is what will happen, this is what can happen. Things have changed. Things have changed, and that's what results in the drama. That's what the fun of Test cricket is. That's what the bizarreness of Test cricket is all about. I think this has been an absolutely incredible Test tour. By the way, look at the weather. Gargi, once again, quick update. This is dark. This is cloudy. This is gloomy. This is
how it was predicted to be the entire day. See, I did.
And in the afternoon, there's 90% chance of rain from 2 o'clock.
Yes. So there was 80. When I did it yesterday evening, it was 80 to 90% chances of precipitation. 80 to 90, sorry, 70 to 80%. It started from 11. 11 was 50. Then 12 to 3 was the major part.
Today, I in the morning also when I came.
Yeah, 12 to 3 is the danger zone there. Are we headed for another 6 p.m. finish or what?
If there is, look, if somehow the game doesn't get done by 12, and if there is any kind of rain that comes in by 11, then there is a chance. Then there is a chance that there will be no game for 2-3 hours, because that period between 12 and 3 is quite problematic. There is a lot of rain predicted in that period. So yes, I mean, don't rule anything out, in the sense, still the chances are that between 11 and 12 the game will get done, and it will not rain. It will not rain between 11 and 12, because 40-50% chance of precipitation manage ho jata hai. But dekhiye, kal with the 50% chance of precipitation we had a shower. So it's impossible to kind of predict, and at this point in time it's very dark, it's overcast, there is absolutely no sun. The sun was there till 8:30, 8:45 when I kind of was leaving. What time did you? At 8:45 it was still sun. But 8:30, sorry, 8:30 it was still sun. 8:45,
exactly.
Quarter to 9, bit close to 9 when I got into the Uber, it was 8:55. There was no sun, and by the time you come here, which is about 10-15 minutes drive, 10 minutes drive with the traffic, it's pretty close actually. It starts getting darker, and now it's very dark. This is proper overcast conditions, and this should suit bowling. This should absolutely suit bowling. Nobody is saying there will be a miracle, but don't rule out a miracle. That's what this series is all about.
अगर एक कुछ सीख मिली है throughout this series, it's that never give up, never stop fighting, and that anything can happen. I think that.
So here you go.
Okay, there you go.
40% at 11, 60% at 12. No, 1 is better now.
But look at the
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. अगर इतने part में बारिश till
तो
about
खत्म हो
2,
जाता है. हाँ, तो खत्म हो जाता
then because 35 runs.
That's what it is. Either way, 10 to 12 overs. 10, 12 maybe back. And if India sort of gets it, maybe a couple. That's what it is. About 12 overs side. That should be enough. That should be enough for either team to close. India will need two magic balls to get into Georgetown, and England will need good 4 or 5 overs. That's it. If I was England, I would come and attack the first over. Come and attack the first over, hit a couple of boundaries, put India back, and that's it. Jamie Smith is capable of doing that. He should come, because yesterday, had the game continued yesterday, I would have given India the chance, because England was rattled. The problem is, let's put it this way. Had it been India who was batting like this, would the ground staff have waited till 6:42? When the sun came out, would the ground staff had done that? Or would the ground staff push harder and cleared it out and made sure that there was still 20 minutes of game? Or is this part of home advantage also? Because you will get the heavy roller. And how impactful will the heavy roller be this morning? I think that could well change the game. Because England will get the heavy roller, which will bind the pitch up for another 30-40 minutes. That's the question. Yes, Mone Mokel in that press conference came and said that, no, there was a lot of water and the ground staff would have taken time. And we also thought, when we came out, that there was a lot of water. But there is the question. There is the question, because by the time Gargi and I had started our post show, and if you see, when the announcement came at around 6 p.m. that the game had called off.
10 minutes later, it was completely sunny.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say, that within 5, 7, 10 minutes, the sun was, and remember we said the sun was into our eyes and we were squinting. So the sun was bright and sunny. Had it been India who was batting and not England, would it have been the other way? Would it have been that they would take a little bit more time? 6:42 would have been the cutoff. Would they have taken a bit more time and tried to clear the water and get the game on? Because this morning is the heavy roller. Is this part of home advantage? Is this part of all of that? Is this a conspiracy theory? It is a theory. It is a theory. I tweeted last night that I saw Harsha tweeted last night. I saw a number of people tweeting as well. But again, these are all probabilities. Same thing. That could they have started?
Could they have started?
Because this is a question. Some people will come and say this is a conspiracy theory. Why are you indulging in it? Fair point. Nobody can pinpoint and say the ground staff could have started in 30-40 minutes, but this is a fact.
हमको एक्टिव देखो भैया, बहुत परेशान होता है. हमारा पास में इतना पैसा नहीं है, किराए का भाड़ा नहीं देता है.
जहाँ पूरा जगत कृष्ण भगवान के आगमन का उत्सव मनाएगा, वहीं वृंदावन की कुछ माएँ इस आस में होंगी कि काश आज कुछ खाने को मिल जाए.
मैंने बहुत कष्ट बोल, किसी ने नहीं पूछा मेरे को. बहुत परेशान रहती हूँ.
भिक्षा मांगना अब उनकी वृद्धावस्था में दुखों का सबसे बड़ा कारण बन चुका है. ये माएँ टूटी झुग्गियों में, त्रिपालों के नीचे, नंगे पांव, बस 2 वक्त की रोटी के लिए तरस रही है.
वृंदावन में आज भी ऐसी कई सारी माताएं हैं जिनके पैरों में आज भी चप्पल नहीं है.
क्या जन्माष्टमी जैसे त्योहार सिर्फ हमारे लिए खुशियां लेकर आते हैं, या फिर ये भी सिखाते हैं कि सच्ची भक्ति वही है जो सेवा में दिखे? ट्रू होप फाउंडेशन का यही प्रयास है कि इन माँओं की जन्माष्टमी खाली न जाए. हर दिन, हर रात हम इन्हें राशन, खाना, ज़रूरी सामान और सबसे बड़ी चीज़, एक उम्मीद देने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. इस जन्माष्टमी पर कोई माँ ना तो भूखी सोए और ना ही अकेली रोए, बल्कि उनके जीवन में फिर से कृष्ण आ जाए आपके रूप में. आपका छोटा सा सहयोग किसी माँ के लिए सच्ची जन्माष्टमी बन सकता है. इस बार सिर्फ मटकी ही नहीं, किसी माँ के भूख का दायरा भी तोड़े. दान करें.
This is a fact that had India been batting, would it have been the other way around? This has been one such series. Little things, very little things. What do you reckon? Had India been batting, with the ground staff have pushed a bit more? Let's get them out. I mean, that crowd was loud. The crowd was cheering. Jamie Smith was rattled. Jamie Overton was all over the place. He was edgy. Would England have been able to finish it? Because today they would have recalibrated.
I don't have the answer to that. I do not, because this is such a, again, like you said, a sort of a conspiracy theory, because we can only sit and speculate or think about what could have happened, but at the end of the day, England played better cricket, and the Indian bowlers failed to put England under any pressure whatsoever. That second session of the day was absolutely horrendous. India could not penetrate, they could not put on any pressure, they were haywire, and I think that session lost you the game. It wasn't the Mohammad Siraj dropped catch, it was that session where you completely lost the plot, you've completely lost all intent and intensity. Your body language was, it looked like you had already lost, and shoulders dropping. It wasn't the same team India that was playing in the first session.
I agree, and I wrote that Mohammad Siraj, anybody who says that Mohammad Siraj catch dropped India the game and lost India the game, that doesn't happen. No. One dropped catch with 212 runs still to play, with a wicket that was doing something. You have had 2 wickets already in the morning session. You bowled with intensity and verve. That one drop catch cannot ruin you the game. And anyone who's saying that is wrong. Having said that, I tend to agree. I mean, and I did not understand this. I don't think it was only the second session. I will say it was the last 20 minutes of the first. It was the last 20 minutes of the first session when England raced away in 20 minutes between, say, 12:45 and 1 p.m. from 135 to 165. All of a sudden, that counter punch baffled India. And that's what baffles me, that why would a counter punch baffle you? I mean, you are the one who should have been the aggressor. You are the one who should have won the game. You are the 24 runs on the board. Did you not expect that Harry Brook will play a Rishabh Pant type innings? Expect that that's Harry Brook. Harry Brook all a punch. And he was taking his chances. Why did you not once as well? And that's what I did not understand in India's approach. The moment Brook started hitting, you saw the field spread. The moment Brook started hitting, you realized that this game is network choppy.
What can we do now? What can we... It's not connected to Wi-Fi, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Better. ठीक हो जाएगा.
Better हो गया.
So ठीक हो जाएगा. I mean, this is also like India's bowling, Neil. This network is much like India's bowling. They keep coming, going, keep going, coming, all that. Like Gargi, the truth is, just like I was very baffled with India's approach in the last 15-20 minutes of the first session, and obviously in the second session, like you realize I said at lunch it's India, because I thought they will come back with intensity, they'll come back with aggressive field positions and not spread the field. All of a sudden you had a first slip, you had a third slip, and you had nothing there. You had a deep square, you had a deep cover, you had a deep mid wicket, you had a fine leg, and they were easy singles. When Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar were bowling, they're just milking the ball. Fielding on occasions like that Akashdeep boundary was unreal. I mean, how would you describe that? I mean, you can't explain that.
How do you explain that happening? Because at that point, again, it's the same thing that Shubman Gill looked sad. Shubman Gill looked out of sorts at that point. But you know what I refuse to accept is the fact that one dropped catch led you to that much heartbreak. Or no, I don't know how to put this, but how can one dropped catch change everything so much? It's not like you couldn't have got them out. You still had so many runs on the scoreboard, 200 plus runs on the scoreboard. You had the advantage, but you completely let it go. Not sure what happened. You know, we keep talking about how after breaks, India keeps coming back stronger. And I said that after lunch, you know, this is the time to recalibrate. Thank God this lunch happened at the time that it did, because now it gives you time to come back stronger. Day before yesterday, we saw the first session was horrible, but then after lunch, Mohammad Siraj once again and Prasidh Krishna came back so much fresher and with so much more intent. The team was looking fresher. They were supporting, they were chirping. But this time around, that change, that turnaround did not happen after the lunch break.
I think the reason for that is Akashdeep did not stand up. Akashdeep wasn't able to pull his weight. When you're playing a 3-pacer attack, England started with a 4-pacer attack. Chris Woakes got injured is a different matter. England started with a 4-pacer attack. You started with a 3-pacer attack. When you're playing a 3-pacer attack on conditions like this, where effectively your 2 spinners are rendered redundant. Your 2 spinners cannot even come into bowl, because the moment the 2 spinners come into bowl, the pressure will be released. There's nothing for the spinners out there, and England will milk the runs. You saw that happen with Washington Sundar. You saw that happen with Ravindra Jadeja. The point here is pretty simple, that when you are playing 3 fast bowlers, each one will have to stand up and pull his or her his weight. And that's what did not happen with Akashdeep. Because every time Akashdeep came on to bowl, there were lazy runs. The number of times he conceded wide 5, they were easy runs. They were just gifted runs. He wasn't able to control. And it was one of those bad days for Akashdeep. Sad that it came on a day which was as important as that for India. Coupled with the dropped catch, when you then take that, okay, 1 bowler gone, 1 bowler is not pulling his weight, then a dropped catch from another premier bowler, had it been someone else. And in the, the bowler was the 3rd one. So everybody had a role to play. All your 3 fast bowlers. Siraj dropped it, Prasidh was the bowler, and Akash did not pull his weight. All of a sudden, the trio who were expected to win you the game, each had some